Boxing King Media, episode 12 of the Brutally Honest podcast, powered by BYD. Dom, it's been a week or so since we did that interview in the showroom with Johnny. People loved that, but no Johnny today, it's just us two. Some topics to talk about. I think I want to start straight away with Chris Eubank Jr. Canelo. Rumours suggesting that fight is next. Eubank's been on the sidelines for a while now. Rumours of fighting Conor Benn fell through. Hamza Shiraz looked like it was going to be happening, but it never came off. And now it looks like he's getting the ultimate job of Canelo. What do you make of that?
Yeah, it's a good fight. Eubank will get a good payday out of that, but Canelo will spring some cinnamon on him and eat him like a what do you call them?
Donut?
Well, you can't say donut, can you? Because he's not a donut, Eubank. But yeah, a cinnamon bun. That's what he'll do. Put some Canelo on him and eat him like a cinnamon bun.
Do you eat cinnamon buns?
I don't eat buns. I like them, but I don't eat them.
Yeah, they're full of calories, aren't they? But yeah, you've just said it straight away. You think obviously Canelo's a big favourite. I'm guessing he would be. But what do you think of that as a business move and just him? Does he deserve that opportunity?
Well, he's got the name, hasn't he? So well, he's got the name. You know, he can get in that kind of mix. And he hasn't boxed for a while. You know, what's he doing? Who's he waiting for? He needs to have a big name. So you know, Canelo's a big name, isn't it? And it's an interesting fight. It'll be vicious while it lasts. But I think if you've seen Liam Smith, you know, knocking out Chris Eubank Jr., I think it's not going to be an issue for Canelo.
But the fact that he, you see it with a lot of fighters now, when they get to the point where they become pay-per-view fighters or become big names, they kind of wait around for the highest rewarding fight. So
it makes sense, of course you do. You wait for the high paid fights. That's what you do, because you could get beat in lower paid fights. So, you know, if you're going to get beat at the very top where the money is in a high profile fight. You know, better off getting beat in a world title fight for a load of money than a central area or a British title fight for nowhere near as much. You can always think, you know, try and keep at that level and then drop down as you go through your career and maybe go back up again.
Could you draw comparisons with when Kell Brook fought Triple G, for example?
You could do, but you know, Kell won the world title, and you know, people still message me now about that fight, saying, "Oh, you know, should he have took that fight? It was the wrong fight to take." But it wasn't the wrong fight to take because it was the first fight what Kell Brook got paid millions for. So you know, you look at the fights he got paid a lot of money for. Canelo, Khan. Look at them fights, big paydays. And you know, our friend from over across the water, the Southpaw, Errol Spence. You know, they were big money fights. The two big money fights that Kell got a lot of money in was Golovkin and Errol Spence. Two fights he lost, and up until that point, he wasn't earning that kind of money. So you've got to think, coming to the end of your career, Eddie's not making the fights with the rest of the champions, or the fights can't be made, or the fights not, you know, the unifications aren't happening at welterweight. Well, what do you do? Carry on. You know, people were moaning about him boxing his mandatories, these IBF mandatories who weren't any good. And then, you know, saying Kell don't want to fight anybody, but, you know, he proved a point by stepping in the ring with Golovkin. So, you know, that's what you've got to do. And look where Kell finished his career. Fantastic sellout show against Amir Khan, the fight that everybody wanted to see, and it was exciting when it lasted, and he still got paid a fortune. So same with Eubanks, he might as well take the risk now. He's no spring chicken. He might as well get in the big fight, make the money, and then, you know, he might get another fight. He could box the likes of Caleb Plant, he could box somebody else. Once he's been in there, depending how he, you know, acquits himself, then he might get another big fight off the back of that. You know, maybe Crawford might move up and challenge him.
He's had a lot of critics, Chris, over the years, but, you know, I was looking at his career. There's not many fighters that have fought on pretty much every TV network. I think he's been on Channel 5, ITV, even some of the pay-per-view channels that aren't around anymore. He's even been on them. He's going to potentially land his Canelo fight. Isn't that a really well-managed career, would you say?
Yeah, listen.
Maximising the innings?
Then again, I think it's more his name. The Eubank name carries more weight than his boxing ability.
Because people said he should have retired after the George Groves? Even before that, the George Groves fight. Was it George Groves? Yeah, people said he should have retired after that. And look what he's gone.
Well, he kept himself in the mix, and that's boxing for you. You keep ploughing ahead, and you're going to have wins and losses, aren't you? Some people pack in with the first loss. Some people learn from it. And when you think about the limited amateur career that he had, he's done all right. But, you know...
Just all right, multi-millionaire. That's more than all right, isn't it?
Well, if he's a multi-millionaire, fair enough. Like, you know, whatever it is. I don't know what his financial status is. But he's done all right. But like I said, even now, his name carries more weight than his boxing ability. The Eubank name carries more weight than his boxing ability.
But surely, you know, you're saying that, but when he fights, he's exciting.
But I don't know if well, it was exciting when he was getting knocked out by Liam Smith. That was exciting. And I can't think of any other, I can't really think of a fight that he's been in that he's won what was tremendously exciting.
The Liam Smith fight was good to watch.
Well, all right then. The Liam Smith when he got knocked out was more exciting than the Liam Smith that he won.
Okay. Then obviously the fight against your old guy Liam Williams, that was a good fight as well.
It wasn't a bad fight. It wasn't a bad fight. It wasn't my guy at the time, Liam Williams. If Chris Eubank Jr. had boxed the Liam Williams that I was training on form, Liam Williams would have beat him.
And even the Billy Joe Saunders fight, which he lost on a split decision, that was good to watch. I'm just trying to say what I'm trying to.
They were good fights, but they weren't tremendous nail biting fights, were they?
But when you say that, do you mean like a boxing clinic or do you mean like an end-to-end fight?
It wasn't.
What's a good fight in Dominic Ingle's mind?
Well, not anything ones I've really seen of Chris Eubank Jr.
You're just not a fan of him,
Well, it's not even that I'm a fan, but where's he been in a fight? Where's Chris Eubank Jr. been in a fight where, and you might be able to correct me if I'm wrong, where he's come from behind, getting a good pasting, and all of a sudden he's pulled one out the bag or dug in deep and filled somebody in and won? I don't think he ever has. He's either won or got beat.
I couldn't really think top of my head, but I know he's beat some good names, you know, like domestically he beat a lot of fighters. Gary O'Sullivan, Nick Blackwell, he beat Arthur Abraham.
Arthur Abrahams were way past his best.
Marcus Morrison, James DeGale.
Marcus Morrison wasn't even in his league.
Liam Williams obviously gave Billy Joe Saunders
Liam Williams was not, you know, the best version of Liam Williams.
And he's got that epic win over Tyan Booth as well.
Tyan Booth caused him more problems than anybody, and then realised and thought, I shouldn't be doing this, and kind of failed in the last few rounds.
How were you scoring that Tyan Booth fight? Because a lot of people...
You know what, I didn't actually score it. I just thought...
Was he doing well?
He was causing Eubanks problems because Eubanks couldn't work him out. Do you understand? That's basically what it were. But it's a long time ago, and like you get your chances, and Tyan Booth didn't take his chance, and that's the end of the story, you know. You can't take that away from Chris Eubank Jr. And you really can't take anything away from all through his career. As long as he turns up and gets in the ring, win or lose, that's the way boxing is. You know, it's in this day and age, there's too much emphasis put on unbeaten records. People, you got to win, and once you get beat, you know, you're not worth anything. That's not really true, and it shouldn't be that way. You know, you should be judged on your ability to get in another fight and take on all comers. And from that respect, and I know I keep having a dig at Chris Eubank Jr., but he keeps getting in the ring and having a fight, doesn't he? And even when he got knocked out by Liam Smith, fair play to him, he came back and he beat him. And that's really what boxing is about, that when you get a bit of adversity and you get beat, you know, you get back in and you have another go, and you've got to give him credit for that, because so many people don't do that.
Yep, 100% fair play to him. And as the fight gets closer, if it does get announced, we'll talk more about it. But before I move on to the next subject, I'm just going to drop in this weekend. You know, if any of our listeners are into cars, supercars, this weekend you've got the Goodwood Festival of Speed, where Dom's going to be at, Johnny Nelson's at. I think loads of other big names are going to be at. But in a nutshell, it's an event where they showcase classic cars, new cars, sports cars. I know you've become a bit of a car fan yourself.
Well, apparently, they have this race where you have to drive up a hill in a car, which is like, imagine letting me loose in a fast performance car going up a hill. I'm liable to, you know, to spin it.
Well, you're going to be driving the BYD Seal, I believe, which is 500 brake horse, and apparently you're going to be going up a hill at full throttle.
Yeah. Interesting.
Have you done them sort of crazy speeds?
I've been on dodgems at the fair, and I do quite well in that. I can tend to be the last man standing on the dodgem, so I think it might be a similar kind of thing.
Well, the tickets for this event are normally £200+ each. We've managed to secure 2, so basically we're giving away 2 tickets for the Goodwood Festival of Speed, and it's for this Saturday coming up. So you literally got 2 days. I'm going to pin a post to the YouTube video. It'll take you to Instagram, to the BYD UK page. Basically, you've just got to follow the BYD UK page, and the actual post that I put on the link, just comment on it. And they will pick out the winner in the next 48 hours. It's the best tickets. It's for Saturday. And basically, you've got all access at the event, and you get to see all these cars close up. I'm going to specifically mention these two cars, the BYD U9, which is a 1400 brake horse power supercar, and the U8, which I think you might have some interest in when it comes out in the UK. It's a 4x4, and basically it can drive on water.
Oh, really? Like James Bond?
Literally, I'm actually going to play the video whilst we're talking. You can see right now, this car will basically drive on water for half an hour. So God forbid, if you ever end up in a lake or something like that.
Well, that'll be handy, because where we live, on the schoolroom, we have to, it's a place we have two bridges to go cross over into Rotherham, and it continuously floods up to about 3 or 4 foot. It causes chaos every time there's heavy downpour. And, you know, that sounds like a great car for me to be driving, because I can go straight through that and make the schoolroom, because often they close the road off. You know what I mean? It's, a few years back we had Old Meadowhall flooding. It's in a floodplain Meadowhall shopping centre, and that floods on a regular basis. So, you know, imagine that I'm the only one with an amphibian vehicle. You can drive half an hour. I can get to Meadowhall and do some shopping.
Yep, like I said, it's an amazing car, and people are watching it right now. Like I said, these two cars will be exhibited at that event. And also, lastly, like I said, the comment that's pinned to this YouTube video, just follow it. Straight onto Instagram and just comment on that post, and make sure you're following BYD UK, and they will drop you a couple of tickets. We're going to pick a random winner, and it's obviously a sponsored post by our sponsors for this podcast. I want to quickly speak to you about Shakur Stevenson. Do you rate him as a fighter?
Yeah, very good fighter, very quick, tremendous hand speed, clever, intelligent fighter, very good, yeah.
He had his fight recently at the weekend, last fight under his promotional deal with Top Rank. A comment he made, he put on Twitter after he finished his deal, and it's something similar to what Floyd Mayweather said when he worked with Bob Arum, and he basically said, "It's over, take the L out of love. They proved to the world numerous times that they can't help a black fighter turn to a superstar. Now watch how I go without them." So that was his comment referring to Bob Arum and Top Rank. What do you kind of make of that?
I don't know. I mean, to be honest, like Floyd, you know, did a good thing when he did it. De La Hoya, you know, he boxed. De La Hoya did a different thing, didn't he? He went a different way. But Floyd, when he did it, he kind of bought himself out of his contract, and then, you know, set himself apart by boxing people. But he always played the pantomime villain, Floyd. He always got some popular fighter kind of to go in with. He played the bad guy. He went in, was it Gatti he boxed? Yeah. And, you know, that kind of got him moving, and he kind of picked his opponents all the way through. And he was a fight that everybody loved to hate at the time. And he was, for me, really purely for the boxing purist, because Floyd's fights weren't mega exciting, but you knew he was going to win. It was always going to be a good boxing display, and he made a fortune. Whether he can do that, Shakur Stevenson, I don't know in this...
Shakur Stevenson.
I said Shakur,
You said Shaquille.
Did I Shaquille?
Yeah.
Oh, Shaquille. Everybody likes my...
that's another fight I'm going to add to the list.
Shaquille Thompson I'm thinking of, because we were talking about him earlier, another good fighter from Sheffield.
Yeah,
Shakur Stevenson. I don't know in this day and age if that's going to be, he's going to be able to do that. You know, we had a similar thing with Crawford, another one. You know, and I remember Crawford coming to the UK and watching Amir Khan and Gail Brook, and you could see him looking round in the audience at the 20,000 people and thinking, like if he had a bubble above his head, you could see him thinking, I'd beat these two bums, and look at what they're selling out. And you know, boxing's about putting bums on seats. And can Crawford do that? Not really. He's not selling out. I don't even think realistically that his fight against Errol Spence was a mega fan spectacle. I don't think it was 20,000 people. And it's probably going to be the same with Shakur Stevenson. You know, people like to see a tear up, something different.
Is that fair on the fighters? Because you guys have experienced that with some of your fighters.
It's just hard. It's the look of the draw. It's look at Naseem Hamed. You know, Naseem Hamed could fight. He was excited. He could knock people out. He wasn't the best boxer. He wasn't the best boxer, but he was the most entertaining. He could fight. He was brash. He could punch, and he was entertaining. So whereas you look at something like Floyd Mayweather, they're not massive punchers, but they're very technically good. They win fights methodically, technically. You've got Canelo on the other hand, a bit different, but he's got a massive Mexican following who'll turn out because he's Mexican. But will Shakur Stevenson, be able to do it on himself? Because if you've got a company like a promotion company trying to sell you, they've got the TV or they're putting you in big stadiums, you've got to have an appeal to a mass audience. You've got to take some kind of responsibility, for yourself to be, to make yourself entertaining, to make yourself valuable and people want to come and see you. And while he might be a fantastic boxer, is it thrills and spills when you watch him fight? Is it thrills and spills when you watch Crawford fight? Not really. Is it thrills and spills when Mayweather fights? No, not really. But Mayweather's got more talk than Crawford. He's got more talk than Shakur Stevenson. He has. He's very brash. He's got the chat. He's got the flamboyancy. They haven't got that. So he's making himself heard. I'll give you another example. Look what we've had at the weekend. Johnny Fisher. Yeah. The Bull. Crash, bang, wallop, bish, bash, bosh. His dad could get in with Babich next and beat him. That'd be entertaining. But people are latching on to him because he's got entertainment value, and he's actually getting a bit better as he goes along. He's rough and ready, but he's creating a bit of interest. And his dad's got a bit of a sideline on social media. They're entertaining people. Have you seen Johnny Fisher's dad? Red Bull and a vape in his hand and 100 stone. Eating as much food as he can. It's entertainment. So, has Shakur Stevenson got that, that about him to create that kind of interest? I don't think so. Fantastic boxer, but he does things methodically. He's not really flash and brash, is he?
Could he be the guy that could potentially beat Gervonta Davis?
Yeah, he possibly could do. It's not.
That's a fight.
That's a big fight. That's a big fight. But the entertaining fighter in that one is Gervonta Davis. So it's going to be that could be the fight what makes him. But then what after that? Who does he fight after that?
The other guy, I don't think I've ever spoken to you about him before. Have you heard of Jaron Ennis?
I've heard it. Yeah,
Have you seen much of him?
Little bits.
Yeah, he's fighting David Avanesian this Saturday.
Yeah.
Eddie Hearn's plugging him to be his next.
Yeah.
Eddie did this with Devin Haney, but obviously Devin's gone his own way now.
Yeah.
So this is the new guy that Eddie's plugging as the next star of USA. Is he that good?
Listen, you never know how good a fighter is till they get in with somebody who's good like Shakur Stevenson.
Are we going to find out with Jaron fighting David Avanesian? He's took it about 4 weeks' notice.
Not really, because David Avanesian is a good kid. He's been in a couple of big fights, and he's at a certain level, and I don't think he's got enough, especially fighting away from home, to beat a fighter like Ennis. So, that's just where he is, and he's a good fighter, David. Because I've had him around here sparring Kelbrook and a load of people. He's got, to say where he started off, where he's come from, what he's done. He's done exceptionally well in boxing. He's been very well managed, from where he's come from. So he can fight, but I don't think he's got the ability to be, a fighter like Ennis.
Last thing you touched on there, I was going to talk to you about Johnny Fisher just quickly. So you saw, people are talking about the improvements he's made. Great character, really nice personality as well, and obviously his dad's a character on camera, on socials. How, as a young boxer coming up now, I know your dad was it's weird because your dad was kind of telling fighters to be like that back in the day when there was no social media. But there's a lot of fighters out there that are so good now, but they don't get the TV platform behind them. They ain't got the following. Where do you what would you be advising the next young kid?
Well, you've got to have something about you, and it can't. I saw an interview with another Fury fighter. I forget who it was, and don't know which relative of Tyson's he was. And when he was saying what he was saying, he's had a few fights. He just sounded like Tyson Fury 20 years ago or 10 years ago. It's like all being heard before. So it's got to be something different, and you've got to create interest. You've got to create a fan base, and there's never been an easier time now with social media to self-promote. But what you're doing sometimes, it's like when you're a kid and you get a big shiny box with a nice ribbon on it, and it's all got gold wrapping paper on it, and you open it up and it's a really shit present. And that's what you're getting with a lot of fighters. They've all got the shiny packaging and they're doing all the stuff on the social media. And you think, I'm going to watch them fight, and when they get in, they're useless. So, You know, everybody's got the opportunity to self-promote, but it's whether you can back up what you're saying as well. And the fighters who can self-promote and back up what they're saying and produce the goods are going to be the ones that break through. There's not enough room at the top for everybody. There's only enough room at the top for the best. And then you're going to get them fighters who say, you know, me boxing should speak for itself, man. That's where it should be. You know, people should look at me boxing, but they don't, because fans want to buy into something else. Dave Allen, for example. Dave Allen was doing really well years ago. He had a massive social media following. People were coming up to him and saying, "Have you seen Dave Allen? Oh, he's funny, innit? You know, he's a character." And he was boxing and winning his fights and, you know, wearing his heart on his sleeve, and he was doing big, you know, active on Twitter, and everybody was tuning into him. But then a few fights further down, when he started getting beat, that kind of started to diminish, because he wasn't being shown on the TV, or wasn't getting the fights or whatever, and he wasn't performing. But for a moment in time, you know, he was social media gold.
Well, you brought him in nicely there, because David, if you've been watching his socials, he's in brilliant shape, probably the best he's been in for a long time, and he said he feels good. He's fighting this Saturday, I believe, in Sheffield, so get yourselves down there.
Well, he actually sent me a video message because he'd seen one of me questions and answers on Insta, and I thought he's going to start throwing threats at you. I leant over at ropes, looking a bit menacing, and he said, "Dominic, I'm going to prove you wrong." So I think he's got this fight in Sheffield.
Did you predict his fight? What did you say?
I didn't predict his fight. I just said that. So I think somebody said, "Is he capable of becoming, you know, best in Britain?" And I said, "Not really." A few years ago, but I think he's missed his chance now. There's a lot of good kids he's got to beat, so he's going to prove me wrong.
Can you rewind the clock at that age? With obviously he's not lived the life physically, eating bad food, but now he looks amazing. Do you think?
Not really.
No. Why is that? Is that because it's Dave, or do you think
many fighters who had the potential when they're younger, and I'm not going to say wasted their career, but gone a certain way, it's very difficult then, you know, to wind the clock back.
So he's looking to have this warm-up fight and potentially get Johnny Fisher mid.
Yeah, it's an interesting fight. I mean, the Dave Allen of old would have probably beat Johnny Fisher, because he's smart, Dave. He's a clever fighter. He can fight, and he knows enough. He can hold man, and he knows a little bit too much for Johnny Fisher. And those bombs what Johnny's throwing, they'd be seen coming a mile off from Dave. And it's either going to end very quickly with Dave, if Dave boxes Johnny Fisher, that Johnny's going to sling a bomb out of nowhere, and the weight of his shots, he's only got to catch Dave once, and
no one's done that to Dave, though.
No, nobody has. But, you know, Dave's clever enough to avoid him, but you've only got to get slightly distracted. You understand? There's a chance that he can catch Dave, and Dave can fiddle his way through. I ain't seen Dave box for a long time. You know, it could cause Johnny a lot of problems. It's one of those, you know, changing of the guard fights that, as Johnny Fisher improved enough to beat Dave Allen, as Dave Allen diminished enough for Johnny Fisher to beat him. It's one of them balancing acts, but it's probably the right fight at the right time, because it's not a completely, you know, done in Dave Allen. There's still life in the old dog, so to speak, and it's whether, you know, it's going to be Johnny's force and power against Dave's boxing ability and ring craft. You know what I mean? If Dave can fiddle him around and take him into the later rounds and frustrate and old man him, like Archie Moore, you know, he could beat Johnny Fisher.
What do you think of Johnny Fisher as a fighter? And just
from Red, he's lucky. He's come from what, rugby? You know, he's a big tough kid. He's solid. He can punch a little bit, but his boxing ability and ring craft's got to catch up with his physicality. He's more physical and strong, and a bit gung-ho than he is a boxer, isn't he? He's not a boxer yet.
I thought he showed like really good ability. I know he didn't last long, 30 seconds or so.
Yeah, but
the way he set the shots up and
you know, he's like I say, he's not in the entertainment business, but he's in the entertainment business, isn't he? 30 seconds. So he did that kid in, and it was good. It was entertaining. But like I said, Dave Allen's got a bit more about him. He knows exactly what Johnny's got, and he'll know how to deal with it. It's just whether Dave can manoeuvre himself to deal with it at this stage where he's at.
Last thing, Dom, we're going to say summer bods. It's not exactly summer, it's pissing it down outside, but the summer bods, I see that you're trimming down again. I notice in the winter you bulk up, and in the summer you trim down.
Well, you know, you don't have to walk around with your shirt off in the winter, do you? So you can afford to have a bit more to eat. And, you know, you shouldn't really be dieting in the winter. It's not the right time. But when everybody gets to the summer and everybody wants to start losing weight and dieting, I mean, it might be raining in England, but everybody's going abroad, and yeah, we're getting plenty of people in on the diets. We're a bit overrun with it, but we're getting some fantastic results with Greg Marriott, keeping busy this summer. So there's plenty happening, yeah.
I'm going to put the email address on now, and I know I was speaking to Greg earlier. You've had some really good success stories. I saw the pictures you put up of some of your clients in the last few days. Some crazy stories. And Neil Marsh, you know, boxing manager.
Yeah, Neil.
Funnily enough, David, is he still David Amnesian's manager?
Yeah, he's a manager of David. He's been the manager of David for a long time, gotten some tremendous fights. But Neil was a long project.
He's giving him a six-pack.
Yeah, he's actually, well, yeah, he's put a little bit back on, but like I say, where he started, where he finished, and where he is now, he's a totally changed man. I mean, a lot of injuries. He was in the army years ago, over in Kosovo and Serbia, all them places. He's been in them tours. So injuries from that, but yeah, made a big change in his life, and yeah, got himself turned around, training, weight training. He's been down here, done a couple of pad sessions, a couple of bag sessions. So you know, if you see him you see him in America, you've seen him at some press conferences kicking off. You've got to be a bit careful because he's quite an handy fella.
He is, and yeah, appreciate your time as always, Dom. People loved the thing we did with you and Johnny the other week, so we're going to do more of that. I'm not going to say who we're going to have next time round, but we're going to get another guest in. Might even get 3 of you on camera if we can.
Well,
so.
I've had a message from Johnny saying there's only certain stories we can talk about. He's given me a list of the scenarios we've been through, and he says, "Oh, don't mention this one, because there's a few dubious ones." So he says, "I don't mind you just, you know, throwing them off the cuff." He says, "But don't throw these particular ones off the cuff." I says, "Well, we might do, but we might have to do that to the subscribe part of the channel."
But I'd like to get you and your 2 world champions, Kell and Barry, at some point. Yeah, at the same time, I think it'd be amazing.
It might be.
See if they can drop.
We might be able to get them to string a sentence together, both of them.
You said that, not me. But yeah, Dom, yeah, as always, appreciate your time. Anything else you want to sign us out with?
In fact, you know what? If anybody remembers that programme years ago, Wacky Races, they used to have Dick Dastardly and Muttley. That'd be like Kell and Barry, actually, because Barry laughs a lot. And I think Kell would come out with some good comments. Yeah, it'd be interesting. You have to put a clip of that cartoon in.
Well, I'm gonna get them both. I'm gonna ask them both, and if they can, hopefully they can share some stories about you and what it's like living with you on camp and stuff like that. So
I'm sure that would be interesting.
definitely. So, Dominic, Ingle, thank you.
No problem.